Welcome back. As you know, I'm Eli, the computer guy, here for the Daily Blob, and I've got to say, I'm just getting really tired of people being all shocked and horrified when the turkey comes back in contact with the ground. What the hell did you think was gonna happen when you strapped a rocket to a turkey? Did you ever think that was gonna end well for the bird? Anyways, it's weird being in the technology world now. Since 96, started in the Army in 96, now 2025, been here for almost 30 years, and just seeing the cycles come and go. And man, I've been arguing about cycles that were going on before some of you people were even born. And it is funny for me because before the work from home thing came out, right, for a couple of years, we were told everybody should work from home. Obviously, working from home is the most efficient way to do things, and it's better not just for employees, but for the companies. Companies that do work from home will be more profitable than companies that work from the office. And I think this is funny. I've said I thought this was funny because we go back to 2015, which wasn't that long ago, only 10 years ago. It was all about collisions, right? Get a picnic table, shove 10 people into that picnic table to do their jobs, and that was the way you were going to be more efficient. I was screaming about that back then, going into open floor plans when that was still pretty new, with no carpet. So back in the day when we had cube farms weren't great, but the one thing that I will give cube farms is they had carpet. And they had like soft material, so when you talked, it did not echo through the entire place. But that was the thing. You go back to 2015, everything was bare cement floors, open office plans without even any kind of divider walls or anything like that. And I was screaming and arguing about that because I had no idea how the hell you would do your job. And I was told, collisions, Eli. Like, yeah, but I've actually got work to do. I mean, I believe in collisions. I believe in meeting people at the local cafe and having a conversation. I believe meeting people at the local bar and having a conversation. I believe going to the little coffee area when you need a cup of coffee and talking to people. But, you actually need to do some work too. It was my argument. Yeah, it was 2015. I was just like, hey, how do you do work in this environment? But the funny thing is, right, we had a world where everybody had offices, and then we had a world where it was cube farms, and we had a world where it's all open office space, and we have a world where it's work from home. And some of these things work for some people, and some of these things work for others, but there's a whole idea of making a blanket statement that this is the way that corporations should operate. I've been arguing for a long time is just tantamount to stupidity. So anyways, right now, the jet, the rocket that has been attached to the turkey is starting to run out of fuel. And so what we're seeing from the last big hype cycle, the work from home hype cycle, is now failing, and so people are being told to move back into the office. What is interesting about this, and what I warned you about, I warned you, is the interesting thing is whenever these companies are going through a hype cycle, and the CEOs and the executives and everybody have to be rah on this is the way business is done. And so the issue is for a couple of years there during the COVID times, we were told by all these corporations that work from home is the future. It wasn't that work from home is an experiment. It's not, hey, why don't you get a 1-year lease somewhere? We'll try the work from home thing and then go from there. No, we were told work from home is forever. So basically you had employees that had been near the office that then moved because they were told work from home is forever. You have people that had been hired work from home, so they've been hired as remote work, so they figure it's forever. Then you have people that just adjusted their lives, right? If you're going to be doing work from home, maybe with childcare or whatever else, you were told work from home is obviously the future. It is the only real way of running a corporation in the 2020s. And so you readjust everything. Some of us have been screaming, this is stupid, this doesn't work. But anyways, some of us were laughed off because we were not the cool kids. Eli, just take a sip of the Kool-Aid. Fuck you, I don't like Kool-Aid. I drink Gatorade, thank you very much. Anyways, so now we have this world where work from home is dying, and at the exact same time work from home is dying, you have these technology companies that are trying to shed employees. I just did a video talking about Microsoft. Microsoft is now worth $3.57 trillion, and they're laying off employees. They're going through yet another round of layoffs because they are, right? Amazon has gone through layoffs. So they did layoffs of like 27,000 people back in 22, a couple years ago at this point, but they've been continuing to do layoffs. And the issue that they're getting to is that they need to continue to eliminate employees, but they want to make sure the optics are correct, right? If you do layoffs, one thing, if you do layoffs, there's a lot of regulatory compliance you have to go through with how you do layoffs. But then there's also things like severance pay and that type of deal, and then not trying to scare the other employees, because if you lay off a whole chunk of employees, the other employees get scared. They're like, oh, I'm gonna be laid off next, and then the employees that you keep like stop doing their work because they're so damn scared they're gonna get laid off. Well, why should I work for this? Why should I work so hard for this company anyway when I'm just going to get laid off? It's like, but you're not going to get laid off. No, we laid them, all right? There's this whole disaster with layoffs and all that kind of stuff. So the interesting thing that we've started to see going forward is this whole thing like with Meta and Amazon and other companies where they're not laying people off anymore. They're just convincing you to quit. See, if you quit, there's no real regulatory compliance there. If you quit, they don't have to pay you severance because you quit. If you quit, also with unemployment insurance, you have to be real careful about this, because with many companies, if you quit, you don't get unemployment insurance because you voluntarily quit. Don't voluntarily quit unless you have another job lined up. Anyways, right? So what we're now seeing from Amazon is they're now telling people literally that they have to relocate, and if they decide not to relocate, then that is their decision to quit. And this is one of the brutal things out of big tech, which is, this is how we roll. This is the tech industry I know and love. Type A aspie assholes that don't take no for an answer. I understand this environment very well. Sleep pods, quinoa salads, taps for wine and beer in the office. I have no clue how that works. This shit? Oh, I get how this works. But yeah, anyways, so Amazon right now, if we go over, take a look at their stock price, they are sadly at $212 a share. They are only worth $2.28 trillion, which is just ridiculous. These numbers are insane. So yeah, they're worth $2.28 trillion. If you look, they had their high in January, so a number of months ago. So they're down from the high, but they're still doing pretty good. And if we go and we take a look at their max, we can see they had that high in January, they went down, but they're back up again. So they're doing pretty good, but they've still just got to shed employees, or they want to shed employees. As I've said many times, this is why I hate the whole question about how do you get a job, because how do you get hired in an environment where companies are doing better in many ways than they ever have, and they're still shedding employees? I don't know. I can teach you how to solve problems, how to get a job. Anyways, so this is coming from, I think it's called Seeking Alpha, which basically skimmed this off of Bloomberg. Maybe I need to subscribe to Bloomberg, because everybody seems to be ripping off their material. Anyways, Amazon tells staff to relocate to be near managers' teams because it's so important to be near your managers and your teams. It has always been important to be near your managers and teams. Everybody has always agreed that it's important to be near your managers and teams. And they'll do this, and they'll do it with a straight face. I love these people. They're my people. They're my peeps. They're such bastards. They're such bastards. Brings a tear to my eye. I miss these days. These are good days. These are good days. And if you are horrified by this video right now, yeah, things are going to get very bad for you. Anyways, Amazon is ordering some corporate employees to relocate to move closer to their managers and teams. Employees are being told to relocate to cities like Seattle, Arlington, Virginia, and Washington, D.C., which in some cases would require them to move across the country. The report added, citing people with knowledge of the matter. So not only is this, you just have to be able to come into the office for however many days per week, you literally have to relocate, possibly across the country. The U.S. tech and e-commerce giant is mostly informing the staff in one-on-one meetings and town halls rather than sending out a mass email. The relocation policy would affect thousands of employees on several teams, said one of the people. One employee noted that their manager informed the team of the requirement to move and told them they had 30 days to decide. Okay, that is as it is. Then they had 60 days to either resign or start their relocation process. And that is the baller bastard move right there. Amazon is changing the employment conditions, and they want your ass to resign. Because what are they supposed to do? Well, we told them what we need, and then they quit. If you were an employee for Amazon and you're listening, look, I'm not a lawyer or anything like that, but I've dealt with these bastards. These are the bastards I'd like to play with. Oh, dancing with these bastards. Oh, it's so much fun. Anyways, what I'm going to tell you is don't resign. If you quit, you are quitting. Depending on how that quitting goes. The important thing here is beyond severance pay and all that kind of thing, things like unemployment insurance, unemployment benefits. If you quit, many times you do not get access to unemployment benefits because it's insurance. It's literally unemployment insurance. If you are separated from your job, then you get this insurance. If you quit, right, insurance many times does not cover you. So to be very careful about that, I would force them to fucking fire your ass. The person also said there would be no severance for staff who resign because of relocation. So they're demanding that you move. If you don't want to move, they're demanding that you resign. Again, questionable what's going to happen with your unemployment benefits, and they're not going to give you any severance pay. It just brings a smile to my face. I know this world. I know this world so well. This is the world that I grew up in. A spokesperson for Amazon told the news outlet that, quote, for more than a year now, some teams have been working to bring their teammates closer together to help them be as effective as possible. Think about what they're saying now. To be as effective as possible, you have to be close together. But there isn't a one-size-fits-all approach, and there hasn't been a change in our approach as a company. The spokesperson added that, quote, we hear from the majority of our teammates that they love the energy from being located together. And notice this emotional manipulation, right? When Meta is firing people, right, they're firing low performers. Well, if you didn't want to be fired, you should have worked harder. It's not Mark Zuckerberg's fault you're a low performer, right? They are putting onto you the emotional baggage that it is your fault that you're being laid off, not that Mark Zuckerberg is a twat, right? Think about this, right? Now they're talking about with Amazon having people come close together, right? Well, we hear from the majority. Everybody agrees that they love the energy of being located together, right? If you don't love the energy of being located together, what are we supposed to do? You antisocial bigots, we don't want you in the company, right? Everybody else gets along. You're the reject. You are unwilling to play ball. What are we supposed to do? Whenever someone chooses to or is asked to relocate, we work with them to offer support based on their individual circumstances. We work with them. Move or fill out this resignation form. We explain to them the resignation form. Earlier this year, CEO Andy Jassy ordered employees to return to the office 5 days a week, but there was no need to relocate to specific offices. The company has satellite workplaces in the U.S., including New York, Boston, L.A., Dallas, and Austin, which gave people flexibility about where they live. The report noted many people were hired to fully remote positions during the pandemic. Yeah, there you go. There you go. $2.27 trillion company is demanding that you move possibly across the country. And if you are unwilling to move, they will accept your resignation. This is just the pure essence of the tech industry that I know and love. It's been so y'all don't understand. So I've been in this almost 30 years. I've been in this world almost 30 years, right? And you just have to understand, for the past 8 years, hasn't even been 10 years. It wasn't 2015. But somewhere there, 2018, 2019, just tech employees just got coddled to this insane degree, to a degree that doesn't even make any sense, right? The whole idea of, look, you have high value employees and therefore you offer extra benefits to make the high value employees want to stay. That kind of thing does make sense. But it got to such an absurd degree, right? Having ping pong tables or having video games, having a snack bar, that makes sense for tech employees when you're highly stressed and you're trying to figure out a problem, and then you just get in that stupid loop. You just get in that stupid loop where you try something, it fails, and you try something else, then it fails. You try something else, and it fails, and then somehow you're trying the first thing again, because maybe if you do the first thing a different time, you'll get a different answer. Right? You just get in a loop. And so okay, so get up, go over, play a video game, play some ping pong, get some coffee. That level made sense. But we started to get into this world where middling value employees were being coddled. The life in the day of a tech professional, right? You see those life in the day TikTok videos or reels? I don't even know what the hell that is. What is that? That doesn't make sense. Anyways. And that's right. What we've been told. What we've been told is employees have the power now, and the rest of it. And I've been arguing for years that that's not the case, right? Because of economic conditions, because of 1% interest rates, because of basically money chasing returns. This is the world we currently have, but it will revert to mean. Everything reverts to mean at some point in time. And I think that's what we are currently getting, is a reversion to mean. And honestly, with the tech world, reversion to mean means reversion to mean-ass people. That's one of the fascinating things I see too. It's just this whole idea of what bosses are supposed to be. Right, your boss is supposed to be a leader and a therapist and your daddy, right? They're supposed to pay you, but they're also supposed to give you a reason for living and a feeling of community, all this stuff. It just doesn't make sense. Just doesn't make sense. You need to go out and find somebody to bump uglies with. Right? You need to go out and find a religion and a community that enlightens your soul. You need to go out and be part of society and the rest of it. The idea that these bosses are supposed to be these wonderful, loving people that guide you through it. It's horse crap. It's always been horse crap. And so I think the interesting thing now that we're starting to see is a reversion to the meanness. I remember that with when I worked in the corporate world. I was bouncing all these different offices. Doing remote support, and anyways, we had this one manager, And, me being me at the time, right? I was always around all the managers and the executives. And the managers and the executives gave a glowing report for this one manager. So we had these remote offices, and he was a manager for one of the remote offices. And all I heard for months and months and months and months and months was how amazing this employee was. And this employee would strut around because he was the backbone of this company. Yeah, whatever. Anyways, one day they call him to our district office. They have him come in, and he's coming in, he's walking in. I figure he's getting promotion or whatever else. And by God, 20 minutes later, this guy's walking out of the HR department, damn near on the verge of tears. It's like, crap, I wonder what the hell happened. And so I go talk to the HR person. What happened? I need to know what's going on with my offices. Anyways. And basically that guy had just gotten fired. And I said, what? Why did he just get fired? That doesn't make sense. All I've heard from all the executives and whatever is what a great, wonderful employee he is, blase, 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 blase. I honestly hadn't heard a bad word about him. And he wasn't within my hierarchy, so I just didn't deal with him a lot that way. And I remember she looked at me and was like, oh no, he's a fucking horrible employee. I was like, what? She's like, oh, he's a goddamn disaster of an employee. And then I looked at her, she was like, look, we're having a problem replacing him. Finding somebody with his skill set in order to be able to manage what he does was a little bit more difficult than we realized. And the last thing we needed was him to quit. A bad employee in a position many times is better than no employee in a position. So basically, they were just buttering his fucking ego up to keep him in the job until they could find his replacement. And my God, the minute they found his replacement, they chopped him off of the kneecaps. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know how you're supposed to feel about that story. I'm not telling you how you're supposed to feel about that story. I'm just telling you that's the world, right? That's the corporate world I was brought up in. And so when you see this stuff from Amazon, this looks a hell of a lot more like it did a couple of decades ago than it did a couple of years ago. And so I will just warn you that a lot of people are in for a fundamental reality check, right? I talk about this whole thing with Microsoft and the apartheid and the auto signature, and I keep getting pushback from people. I keep getting so much pushback. Dude, you want to put fucking apartheid in your auto signature? Do whatever the fuck you want to do. I'm not your fucking daddy. I'm not your babysitter. I am not here to virtually wipe your fucking ass, right? I am here to explain to you the current world our industry is in. You do with that as you want. You want to be a spoiled little fucking brat who tells everybody in your corporation just exactly what you believe about what's going on in the world stage, and you want to use the corporate communication systems to spam everybody about this crap. You do you, girlfriend. You do you. Just understand, that's not the world we're in right now. That's not the world we're in. So anyways, what do you think about Amazon telling staff to relocate, to literally move to be closer to managers and teams? What do you think about this after we've had years of being told work from home is the obvious way everybody should do business? What do you think about if you don't want to relocate, that they expect you to resign, no severance pay for resigning, and again, the whole question of what does that look like for things like unemployment insurance and the rest of it? And how do you feel? How do you feel about, the tech world just getting back to brass tacks? Does it bring a smile to your face? I gotta say, I know how to deal with this. This is the world I know how to deal with. Anyways, put your thoughts down below. See y'all later.